welcome to the Sunshine Cathedral. The Sunshine Cathedral is a different kind of church, where the past is past and the future has infinite possibilities. And with that, we invite you to come and worship with us here on Sunday mornings at 9 and 10:30 a.m. at 1480 Southwest 9th Avenue. Now, I invite you to come in and worship with us here at the Sunshine Cathedral.
Our first reading today is from the Psalter. When I look at your heavens, God, the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars that you have established, what are human beings that you are mindful of them? Mortals that you care for them? Yet you have made them a little lower than God and crowned them with glory and honor. In these human words, God's voice is heard.
Our second reading is from the Wisdom of Emmer Curtis Watkins. God is the only substance there is in the universe, and God is spirit. Then spirit is all there is anywhere, and whatever is not of spirit is nowhere, has no real existence, is but a figment. It is as if a shadow tried to prove itself something substantial. In these human words, God's voice is heard.
Our third reading is from the Wisdom of Fanny James. Since there is but one substance, one mind, one life, I must be in eternal unity with that one, that is, all in all. In these human words, God's voice is heard.
God is with you.
And also with you.
A reading from the Gospel according to John.
Glory to you, in Christ.
When the Spirit of truth comes, it will guide you into all the truth. The Spirit will glorify me because it will take what is mine and declare it to you. All that the Eternal has is mine. For this reason I said that the Spirit will take what is mine and declare it to you. This is the gospel, the good news.
Yesterday, the staff and board and deacons met together for an 8-hour leadership retreat. I don't know if you work 8 hours, if you can really call it a retreat, but it was a good day together in any case. 8 hours on a Saturday during a holiday weekend, the day before church, and 22 people came together to share a single purpose. 22 good leaders choosing to become better leaders, committing to work together to help us live into our vision and our mission and our purpose and our values. It reminded me of Memorial Day. Of course, we're celebrating our annual Memorial Day picnic tomorrow at Richardson Park, and Memorial Day, it's one of those holidays where we sort of think of barbecues and days off, and yet it's really also in the U.S. where we remember those who lost their lives in combat and service of their country. People from the South and the Midwest, from New England and Hawaii, from big cities and rural areas, Catholics and Muslims, Jewish Americans, Protestants, agnostics, and more, some of whom were same-gender loving people who served in silence for a country that did not yet affirm their full dignity and rights, all risking their lives for one purpose, all serving together as one force, all who fell as one for one people. In memory of those who made the ultimate sacrifice, and in gratitude to those who took the same risk and survived, would you please thank our servicemen and women today? Our retreat yesterday also reminded me of the Great Seal of the United States. Out of the many, one. E Pluribus Unum. Out of many, one. Men and women, people in their early 40s to mid-70s, coupled people and single people, volunteers, part-time staff, full-time staff, people who have been part of Sunshine Cathedral for a year, and some who have been part of Sunshine Cathedral for well over a decade, gathered together yesterday as one. A diverse group committed to our shared affirmation that Sunshine Cathedral is a different, in so many ways, a different kind of church, where the past is past and the future has infinite possibilities, committed to our progressive, positive, and practical ministry, committed to our core values of inclusion, community, spiritual transformation, and social action, committed to sharing the good news of the omnipresence of divinity and the sacred value of all people. 22 people spending the day as one leadership team, leading the church in the one direction of forward movement, growth, and progressive spirituality. Out of the many, one. There's a pretty of many individual things being equally part of and expressions of one larger thing. And that example is music. Something that we all know something about, something we just enjoyed, a great presentation. She said it under her breath, but I heard it. Deacon Ann Atwell said, "I'm so glad to be home," as the choirs finished their song. And we're so glad that Deacon Ann Atwell is home. Would you welcome her home? She's here from now on. She has graduated from seminary. She has to do her clinical internship. She's done her parish internship. That's why she was away for these last 10 months or so. And she still has to do a clinical internship, and then later this year she will be ordained to become the Reverend Ann Atwell. But we're not waiting for that. We're putting her to work already. But this example of music is an example of many things coming together to make one thing, or one thing expressing itself as many other things. I remember my childhood music lessons. In the old days, shortly after the earth cooled, children were expected to take public school music. And so in the 4th grade and in the 5th grade, I think in the 5th grade is when we started we could be in bands and choirs. So from the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grades, one day a week we would get out of whatever class we were in that day and go to an hour of music class. We used to think that the arts were part of education. I hope we return to that day. But in any case, I remember those childhood music lessons, those music classes. Understanding the parts of music was part of appreciating music as a whole experience. And I remember learning the lines and spaces of music, of the treble clef and the bass clef. Now, before I go on, some of these words may not have a lot of meaning to some of you. So how many of you do not read music? Just be honest, raise your hand if you don't raise music. See, you weren't in my 4th grade class. So you don't read music, and I think we should fix that right now. Right now, exactly. Right now. I remember my 4th grade class like it was yesterday. When you're looking at music, there's these lines, top and bottom. The top one is called the treble clef. Those 5 lines at the top, that's the treble clef. The 5 lines at the bottom, that's the bass clef. So those are clefs. And there are 5 lines on each staff and 4 spaces. Now, to learn the lines and spaces, we learned little chants that I remember 36 years later, and you'll remember them forever after today. So those top lines, and you see the notes, E, G, B, D, F. You see those, right? So how I remembered those for the rest of time was from this chant. E, G, B, D, F. E, G, B, D, F. These are the lines of the treble clef. Isn't that brilliant? Don't you love that? Let's say that together, and you'll never forget. E, G, B, D, F. E, G, B, D, F. These are the lines of the treble clef. E, G, B, D, F. E, G, B, D, F. These are the lines of the treble clef. E, G, B, D, F. E, G, B, D, F. These are the lines of the treble clef. Now, in the 4th grade class, I was the only one dancing to it. But that helped me embody the message, no doubt. Now, those spaces, you see, they're F-A-C-E. Those are the spaces, and we had a little chant for that also. The treble spaces are F-A-C-E, F-A-C-E. It's as easy as can be. Isn't that wonderful? Don't you love that? You'll never forget now. Ready? F-A-C-E, F-A-C-E. It's as easy as can be. Or you can see the word face. All right. Now, the lines for the bass clef are G, B, D, F, A. You see that very clearly up there on the screen. So we would chant 4 For the bass clef lines we say G, B, D, F, A. For the bass clef lines we say G, B, D, F, A. For the bass clef lines we say G, B, D, F, A. On the piano it's the left hand, right? So the treble clef is right hand, piano, the bass clef is left hand. Or, for those who didn't like the chants, they needed a little other something, we would say, good burritos don't fall apart. G, B, D, F, A. Good burritos don't fall apart. Now, right? Right? Just like they taught at Harvard and Manus, right? Okay. So, and then for the spaces, A, C, E, G, no chant. We didn't come up with those, so we just said all cows eat grass. And church, the church musicians would sometimes say, all Christians enter glory, but I don't like that one. So, all cows eat grass. Of course, eventually we had to learn time, tempo, sharps, flats, rest, etc. But first we just learned the lines and spaces, and once we got that, we were fourth grade musical prodigies ready to tackle the glockenspiel. That's the glockenspiel. That's the glockenspiel. Ding, 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 ding. So, and we played it. Now we learned all of those, P.S. now you're musicians. So, and we learned all of those individual notes weren't really individual things, but part of something magical and mysterious and unlimited and life-changing called music. Out of the many, one. A unity with infinite expressions and parts and possibilities. The Sunday after Pentecost is traditionally called Trinity Sunday. Sometimes that is the day that liberal preachers will share that the doctrine of the Trinity is largely post-biblical and was definitely never articulated clearly as a doctrine until about 300 years after the time of Jesus. Moderates sometimes say the Trinitarian formula is meant to make us scratch our heads and throw up our hands, reminding us that the infinite cannot be fully understood by finite minds. And so it's an incomprehensible formula just to remind us that we can't fully comprehend the infinite. For those who accept the doctrine uncritically, Trinity Sunday is a day to try to explain the doctrine of the Trinity, which almost always leaves congruents as baffled as they were 20 minutes earlier, and leaves them relieved to think that they may not have to hear the incomprehensible doctrine again for another year. For feminist theologians, Trinity Sunday is a day to counter traditional sexist and patriarchal imagery of the Trinity by offering feminine alternatives. And queer theologians sometimes discuss how odd, how against the grain, how queer the idea of the Trinity is, how it is a model of loving relationship beyond convention or easy definition. Some preachers will discuss the Trinity as a symbol of community or unity, relational togetherness creating a unified whole. There's even an ancient creation story that didn't make it into our canon of the Trinity doing a dance together. And the ecstasy of unfettered joy was the result of that dance. And from that ecstasy, from that explosion of ecstasy and joy, there was fallout. And that fallout is creation. That it was joy and ecstasy and togetherness and playfulness that created the universe. And this story was imagined long before the Big Bang Theory. So many fun paths to pursue on Trinity Sunday. But my take, at least this year, is a little different. The Trinity, for those who believe in it, is a tri-unity. Now, of course, we understand that there are people called oneness Pentecostals, and so they're not really Trinitarians. There are Unitarian Universalists who obviously aren't Trinitarians. Jewish believers obviously aren't Jewish. So we know that not everyone accepts this doctrine, but a lot of people do it. But even for those who do, the Trinity is a tri-unity, and unity is the purpose of that. Unity means that no matter how many expressions, 3 or more, no matter how many expressions, experiences, modes, or manifestations of the divine one might imagine, it's all one. It's all one. It's all e pluribus unum. Out of many possibilities, one reality. Out of many expressions, there's still one source, one substance, one. E pluribus unum, or we could say e trinitas unum, out of the Trinity, one. Unity, oneness, the source and substance of all life, ultimate reality. That is what today means to me. Deuteronomy 6:4 tells us our God is one. Jesus affirmed divine unity in the gospel today when he said that the Spirit, all that the Spirit has is mine. We can say that. All that the Spirit has is mine. And he even said that. He said that that same declaration is true of us. It would be given to us. All that the Spirit has is ours. And one of the 10 Commandments says, have no graven images. We get so stuck on our images sometimes. And the Trinity is probably as good a symbol for divine life as any, but symbols point beyond themselves. They point to themselves, they're idols. Symbols point beyond themselves in a direction, not to a thing, but in a direction. And so the Trinity is as good a symbol as any, as long as we remember symbols point beyond themselves to a larger reality. God can't be contained in any symbol, not even the Trinity. If Trinitarian vocabulary helps you feel closer to God or better about yourself, please have it. If the idea of the Trinity confounds you or offends you or seems not to be an especially useful idea, then choose another one. Whatever symbol we choose to represent God will fall short of the universal presence in which we all live and move and have our being. So play with the ones that you find helpful and discard those that you don't, but even the ones you embrace, please always know there is more to the story. Don't let any image, not even those that are dear to you, become idols. Jesus said, seek and you will find. Not settle and you will find, but seek and you will find. Keep asking, keep looking, keep exploring, keep playing. And I believe that. I believe that as long as we are honestly searching, we will each find what is right for us. We won't each find what is right for the world, but we will each find what is right for us. And as long as we remember that God is really more than our current understanding, then we are free to have almost any understanding. So the creative presence, the redeeming presence, the sustaining presence is one presence. And this divine presence is the source and substance of our lives. We are each drops in that universal ocean, branches on that divine tree, one with the one. Our lives are expressions of divine life. We are all notes in the music of life. So many tunes to be expressed, but it's all music. I don't know what Trinity Sunday means to you, but one of the things I want to invite you to consider is that it can remind you of your unity with divine life. Today can be for us Unity Sunday. You can add try in front of it if you want to, but focus on the unity. Think of God as a chorus, and every one of us as notes in the pieces and movements being beautifully performed. Of course, like the Trinity, that's a symbol. And it points to rather than contains divine life. But it does remind us that divine life is our life. We can never be separated from it. And because that is true, hope and happiness, peace and purpose are our inheritance. And there is nothing to keep those gifts from us. When times seem difficult, uncertain, or unfair, remember that God is your life. Infinite good is your life. Even when the experiences are difficult, the life that is yours, the truth that you are, is divine. You are the song God is singing, and no challenge or difficulty can take the joy of that realization from you. You can always remember, this experience isn't good enough, but I am. This experience isn't good enough, but I am. All that the Spirit has is mine. The composer, the conductor, and the chorus of life are one life. And that is our life now and forever. Though many, we are one. One with the infinite life which sings us throughout eternity. And this is the good news. Amen. You are the song God is singing. As close to, as much a part of God as our voices are part of us, expressions of us. We are the song that God is singing. I hope that brings joy to your heart. I hope that brings hope to you as you consider that. I hope that you can say, as Jesus did, all that the Spirit has is mine. Even if I don't see it yet, even if it hasn't shown up in the way I wanted it to yet, Even if there seems to be some things blocking it right now, it's still mine. And in the fullness of time, nothing can keep it from me. I am part of God, and all that God has is mine. I am the song God sings. And I believe God only sings happy songs, show tunes, like the Impossible Dream. You are that sung dream, that beautiful song. And if that is good news for you, if you are facing something, an uncertainty, a fear, some bad news, and it is good news to remember that in spite of that, you are the song God is singing, and it is a beautiful song, and it will be sung throughout eternity. Ministers are coming forward now to reinforce that message with a loving touch. They will anoint you with oil as a reminder that right where you are, God is. God has to be where you are because you are the song God is singing. And if that is encouraging for you, then I invite you to rise as you're able and come forward as you will. We'll stand together at this altar supporting each other as one song, and we'll give miracles a chance.
On the night you were betrayed, you took the bread. After giving thanks, you broke it and said, "This is my body, open to you. And as you eat this, remember me."
This is my body, open to you. And as you eat this, remember me.
On the night you were betrayed, you held the cup. After giving thanks, you lifted it up. This is my life, poured out for you. And as you drink this, remember me. This is my life, poured out for you. And as you drink this, remember me. So we thank you for the wine and for the bread. We recall the life you lived and the truth that you spread. In God our Maker, oh heavenly dove, in Christ we celebrate your wondrous love. And God our Maker, oh heavenly dove, in Christ we celebrate your wondrous love.
Here at the Sunshine Cathedral, we practice an open communion. And what that means is you don't have to be a member of this church or any church to receive the sacrament. Just as you are, with whatever your beliefs or doubts may be, you are welcome to participate in this feast of unconditional love. My friends, these are the gifts of God for all the people of God.
Thanks be to God.
Hello, I want to thank you for joining us for worship today here at the Sunshine Cathedral. Again, if you're ever in the Fort Lauderdale area, please stop by and worship with us on Sundays at 9 and 10:30 a.m. If you'd like to find out more about the Sunshine Cathedral, or about our resources, or about our books published by our senior pastor, the Reverend Dr. Durrell Watkins, or if you'd like to make a donation to the Sunshine Cathedral, please visit us at www.sunshinecathedral.org. Until the next time, may God continue to richly bless you on your journey.